football business, but to break you in, the business of football, as we often talk about on the Nick and Sisu show.
What's the difference?
That's what the difference is, that teams will make moves that kind of confuses fans as to why they made this particular move. Because, hey, this guy was a great player. They were talking about him in the news, saying how much they loved him, how he was a great part of the offense or defense, but then they go out and do something like this. So this is the part of the business of football where they say one thing while they're doing something or thinking something else, which both you and I know, very well. So, I mean,
it's also sorry to interrupt you, but it's also, interesting that Todd Davis had his best years here before Vic Fangio got here, right?
Right.
And then Vic Fangio comes and he's like, oh, I got this great player in Todd Davis, and he doesn't really pan out under Vic Fangio. Didn't have a great year last year, was injured, and so Vic Fangio's like, well, you're not going to be good for me. You were good for the other guys. So, hey, maybe we got to move on from you.
I mean, once again, it happens. It's part of the business of football. And you think that you've done everything you can to solidify your position based on what you did previously, no matter if a new head coach comes in. But when that guy comes in, he wants his guys. Just look at Bryce Callahan. The reason Bryce is here is because he's quite familiar with Coach Fangio and vice versa from the days in Chicago.
Right.
And knowing as though, well, in Chicago, you had Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan as your Mike linebackers, and looking at this core, it wasn't just me that looked at the linebacker core and said, well, we are a little deficient. And that's why I was surprised when the Broncos did not go out and draft middle linebacker high. I know Justin Chouinard is on the team, but, he's out this season with that hand injury. So it's crazy how this business works, but every coach wants to surround himself with people that he is quite familiar with, and that is another reason why Chris Harris Jr., all real talk here, we tell the truth on the Nick and Sisu show, that's the reason that Chris Harris Jr. isn't in the Broncos uniform anymore.
Yeah, man, those coaches, they have egos too. Their egos are oftentimes bigger than players' egos, and they'd rather part ways with a guy who's been here longer than they have if he carries kind of the sheen or the smell of the past regimes, and those Super Bowl guys who were here on that Super Bowl team. I don't know. Like you said, only two of them left, right? Only two of them left. Is
that an intimidating factor, knowing as though that you have guys who are carryovers from the old regime that are still here, but still have a certain amount of, a leadership and power over the locker room? And maybe a coach wants to insert his will. Yes,
exactly. So the only two left are the two he basically has to keep. I mean, one's a kicker, so it's hard to find good kickers, and Brandon McManus is that, so he's going to keep him. And then the other one's like maybe the best defensive player in the last decade in the NFL. So he couldn't get rid of those two, but he got rid of everybody else, and he's got his own guys in. So now, hey man, no excuses now. He's got the highest paid defense and all his guys. Hey, Super Bowl or bust.
So what? Whoa!
I'm just playing.
Wait,
hold up.
Wait a minute. Did you say that?
Look, if they're not thinking that,
okay,
what are they doing here?
No, I'm with you, Nate.
You know what I mean? Like, our job in the media is to say yes, they can do it, or no, they can't. But like you were talking about earlier, the reason why these Broncos teams are always so good in the year, in the Super Bowl years through when Shanahan was fired, is we always thought we were going to be good.
That was always the mentality.
Yeah, we expected to win every single game. Now, do the Broncos expect to win game one against the Titans? Does everyone in that locker room, to a man, believe we are going to win game one?
Well,
that's the question.
Let's go out to the VIP hotline and talk to Cecil Lammey, who he may not believe that the Broncos are Super Bowl bound or are bound to win 10 games. Cecil, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, just wrapped up that stadium practice. They kind of treated it like a game. There was pregame warm-ups, then they took a break, then they came back out, and then they performed up until quote-unquote halftime. And after halftime, it was a little bit different. It was ones versus twos. Then after halftime, twos versus ones. And then they did some red zone drill. But they tried to keep it like a real game as much as they could anyway, because this would technically be the fourth preseason game. And I got to tell you guys, it kind of felt like that.
You know what, Cecil, this whole night practice, I know, trying to get prepared for the game next week, Monday night game against the Titans, I just felt a little indifferent to the idea of going through all these kind of routines of trying to get guys acclimated to what game day is going to look like, and even the fourth preseason game, knowing as though they have to cut down this roster by tomorrow. So why do it now and not next week?
I thought a lot about that in terms of, well, they'll probably have the game plan and regular install next week, but I thought a lot about what you had said, why now and why at night? Nobody knew this was going to be at night. We knew it was going to be at the stadium because Vic Fangio said that the day before, but it wasn't until 6:30 in the evening on Thursday that we found out that it was going to be at night. So why at night? I really thought about that today, and then what did I do all day? I wrote about teams that were letting players go, and I was like, aha! Now if you're the Broncos, and you guys know this, if you are, wanting to make this team, it's not just about the other guys that are here. It's about guys that have been cut. So now if you're looking across the league, and you're going, well, wait a second, we kind of wanted to take a look at this guy, whoever it is, we can go through the names, the big names, or the small names that were cut today. But I really thought about it. I was like, why? Was this strategic? Did they do this at night so they could look during the day and say, okay, the player X got cut. We want to take a look at him, and he's better than, or we think he's better than what we have right here. That's the only reason I could come up with. Other than that, there was no live tackling in this, and it was not necessarily folly. I thought the offense looked pretty good. We can get into that, but it was interesting the timing of this, kind of scrimmage / game, whatever, at the stadium.
So they do that first game's a Monday night game, though, right? They'll be under the lights.
Yep.
So maybe he's getting ready for that. Getting him, Nick's looking at me like that's crazy. Why is that crazy?
Well, first of all, Nate, really think about that. The game is a week from Monday.
It's at night, though.
That's okay, Nate. We've under Mike Shanahan, we've gone out there maybe on the Friday night, gone through the same routine that they've done right now. But to me, it's like it was a little too premature. You wait till you solidify your roster, then you do that, because when you look at this will be the fourth preseason game.
Right. So if he's simulating that was always at night on a Friday or a Thursday night.
Yeah, but how much are you able, Cecil, looking at those guys, and you were at the practice, how much were you able to evaluate these guys in accordance to what a fourth preseason game would have looked like when you're not really doing a lot of tackling?
Yeah, without tackling, it's so very difficult because they were whistling plays dead, and they had an announcer that was announcing, Philip Lindsay gain of 4 yards or whatever the play resulted in. But it's always so difficult to tell because you just think a guy could be tackled. There was one of those Lindsay carries, and we can't be specific on what it was, but there was a Lindsay carry that looked like it was going to be a big one, and they blew the whistle at like 4 yards. And I'm like, well, Philip Lindsay had a pretty good burst on that play. I think he probably could have broke through that tackle, and it was a safety that was coming up to fill the lane. But, we can't really tell as much as we could if there was live tackling to the ground, if this was an actual preseason game. And I have every game of the preseason on tape from the year 2000 until now because I'm a nerd. But I don't have any Week 4 games because Week 4 generally doesn't matter. This would have been Week 4. It kind of didn't matter, and we could have already gone through. The Todd Davis was a bit of a surprise, but we could have gone through and kind of picked the 53-man roster, before this scrimmage, before this situation that the Broncos were in.
So how hot was Philip Lindsay after they blew that play dead? I know he was probably so mad.
Yeah, well, he wasn't as mad as when he bobbled that catch the other day. That he was very heated with. Today he did have one bobble, but he did secure it and was able to run after the catch. Looking really good out there. I thought it was interesting that Melvin Gordon was out there because in their Saturday scrimmage, he was not out there when that was during the day. Gordon did not participate. He's participating now because Philip Lindsay's looking better than him.
Right.
So we'll see how this shapes up. Philip Lindsay's got that chip on his shoulder. He's got that energy. He's kind of a heart and soul player on this offense, really. And that offense derives some energy from him and also from Cortland Sutton. I have to tell you again, and I hate to do this because you have to be super general or else you get a phone call. And I've had those phone calls, and they're not fun. But let me just say the I like my fade haircut, and I like Cortland Sutton to Drew Lock, or Drew Lock to Cortland Sutton. I think we can understand the lasty bark there, but I look at these two, that chemistry, that connection, throw it up, let the big man go get it. You saw that today multiple times, multiple scores from those two, a Drew Lock rushing touchdown as well. So, you see that connection, you see that chemistry. I did not hear Coach Fangio talk about Jerry Jeudy, so we have to find out, why he was warming up and then didn't participate in the practices. So that's interesting. We'll see that. Noah Fant continues to have a strong camp, although a quiet camp. Not many people are talking about Noah Fant, and he's just showing up and he's performing well. So Lindsey, Sutton, Fant, I think these three were stars of the day tonight.
Well, see, so that's really interesting because we just listened to, Coach Fangio give his post-practice interview, and you tell me what you think, when you hear this. When he was asked questions about the offense and his feelings on the offense, he used these words. He was cautiously optimistic about the run game and how Drew Lock and everything was coming along. Now, based on what you saw today, what do you make of his comments?
Well, it's Vic Fangio. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be that way, but he tosses around compliments like manhole covers. So when he's cautiously optimistic, I suppose that's a good thing. I honestly would rather have that than a coach that goes up there and, chomps on his bubble gum and claps his hands and, blows bubbles with everybody. Like, I don't need that. I need some honesty. And I would like a little bit more excitement, but he's a defensive-minded coach. And we've seen this in years past where if the offense does good, Vic Fangio's kind of grumpy. It's kind of funny. If the defense does good, then he's joking around and he's smiling. Look at that Fangio defense. But the offense was getting to it. A couple of pressures probably would have been sacks. One Jarrell Casey, one Von Miller, and I don't think I'll get in trouble for reporting that. Maybe 3 or 4 pressures total, including those 2 pressures that I just mentioned. So the offensive line was doing a better job. And something that we had talked about, Nick, I want to see Drew Lock use his feet and buy that time, and we did see that today. So, maybe, and Nate, I believe you suggested this when you went out there, and you said, they're going through stuff they don't like right now.
Yeah.
Let them get stuff they like to do. Let them get stuff that works, and then we'll be able to judge this team more accurately. So I think today they kind of scrap, hey, this doesn't work, let's do this, and that stuff started working for the Broncos.
Yeah, you can only hope that, those first couple weeks of camp when the offense was struggling, Pat Shermer was throwing everything at him, seeing what worked with this group and what didn't, and then he's going to kind of pare it down and go for week 1 with what these guys like to do, like you said, and what Drew Lock feels comfortable doing. Talk a little bit about the tight end group. I know, you talked about Noah Fant. What about those other guys? Because it's a really talented tight end room. Do you see a scenario where you can conceivably use 3 tight ends in a game that all are pass receiving threats? How are they going to use Albert Okwuegbunam, and how are they going to use Nick Vannett, who has pass receiving skills, and where does Jake Butt fit in this?
Yeah, I think Jake Butt, I love him. I love his heart. I love that he keeps trying and all that kind of good stuff, but it's a tight room, man. We got to talk about Andrew Beck, who's basically a fullback H-back.
Big
that
in special
guy,
teams, right?
That guy will probably make the team, you would think, or at least you would assume. So then you look at Jake Butt. Okay, how does he make the team? He's a great receiving tight end. He's a fine blocker as well. I thought he was a great Y when he came out of Michigan. Felt he would have been a first-round pick right there with O.J. Howard and Evan Ingram that year had he been healthy. And that's just kind of the thing you're always kind of nervous about or concerned about. So how many you got to keep? Because Vanette's making the team. We know that Noah Fant, Albert Okwuegbunam, they're making the team. Beck's probably making the team. So there's 4. Okay, I don't know if there's room for Butt. So if it's a Butt or Beck, I know Beck's banged up a little bit. We also had Albert O. did not practice tonight. But what you'll see, and you'll see all sorts of creativity from Pat Shermer. I'm convinced of that. I'm very happy to report that we did see some of that. Again, I can't say specifically what we saw. Let's just say there was some razzle-dazzle in the practice. There was some, attacking plays where you went, oh, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. I see how you guys are trying to, be the aggressor there for this Broncos offense. So I liked seeing that from this Broncos offense. It gives me confidence that Shermer's going to craft a scheme where he's going to take some shots. He's going to be the attacker, the aggressor, and I think that's good news for the Denver Broncos. And that includes multiple tight end sets. And tight ends, Vanette's a better receiver. I always thought he was than people give him credit for. At Ohio State, he didn't catch a whole lot, but I liked his natural skill set in terms of catching better than his college teammate, Jeff Hireman. I never thought Jeff Hireman would be much of a receiver in the NFL. And listen, I miss on plenty of players, but I was right about Hireman. He didn't do anything as a receiver. I've always thought Vanette was a little bit better as a receiver, at least in potential, and we just haven't seen it yet. Maybe the Broncos showcase it once in a while, but it's Fant Show and Alberto when they get to the red zone.
Well, the offensive line has been the topic of conversation since the beginning of training camp, and it continued through training camp. And when DeMar Dotson came in, we were all trying to figure out how he was going to be utilized on the offensive line. And Elijah Wilkinson seemed to have struggled at times. From practice today, did you see more of one opposed to the other?
I saw more Elijah making good plays. I mean, that's something that made my notebook because Elijah Wilkinson's the player that both you and I respect a lot. Both you and I like.
Yep.
We love his intelligence. He's just not healthy. He's not healthy. He's not right. I mean, you're a guy out there trying to compete for a job and a pretty high-profile job, and we're talking about it nonstop, and you're at 80%, maybe 80%. But I thought today he performed well, and on the Vaughn pressure, and obviously the Casey pressure isn't him, but the Vaughn pressure, it was just kind of a Vaughn's going to get you, right? I didn't think it was a bad set from Eli. I didn't think, oh, no, here we go again. Eli's having a bad day or whatever. I thought generally, for the most part, he put the bad play behind him. He had a short memory, and he went out there and he performed well.
That's great, brother, man. Definitely appreciate you giving us that insight. Obviously, I miss you here in the studio. Nate is just kind of filling in. Doing Nate Jackson type of things. I can't wait for us to get back together.
Wow, Nick.
What?
No, it's all good, man.
Yeah, I'm loving you up, Nate.
Nick's mad because he's a DB, and I'm calling him out on his DB BS.
You know what, Sisu? You know, we'll talk about this on Monday because Nate is very delusional, as most offensive players can be at times.
Cecil, is a one-on-one matchup fair for the DB? A one-on-one matchup, Cecil?
Is a one-on-one matchup fair? It should be. You got to play one-on-one a game.
You know what, Cecil?
Wish you were here, Cecil.
You know what, Cecil? I'm going to have to bring you up to speed because, no, it is not fair. And on Monday, I will tell you absolutely why, man. So, brother, man, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Be safe. And don't forget, Mulan is out on Disney Plus tonight. So that is Big Fun Friday at the Ferguson's household tonight, man. So see you on Monday.
All right, be good, fellas.
All right, man.
Good.
Later, Cecil.
That is Sisu Lammy. Always great stuff from Sisu. But, Nate, I've been thinking about this, for a while. It is very interesting when a guy is a starter. But what happens when you are a backup and you thrust into that role and the level of expectations actually now increase?
Yeah.
We'll dig into that next.
Whee!
Now the Bozy. There we go. Yes, Vance, we are back. Well, yes, when it's cold, it's tough, but the winter is not here yet. But it's a big fun Friday here on the Nick and Cecil Show. I am Nick Ferguson, and we just talked to Cecil Lemon. We will be back, as usual, rocking out on Monday. But Nate Jackson is sitting in for Cecil right now. And Nate, it's always interesting when we look at the game of football or any sport. And usually when there is a starter in the game, there's a certain level of pressure that's on him, but not so much on the backup. And that's why when most people watch sports, we root for the underdog. And when the backup comes in, there's not a lot that's expected from that backup. And then when they actually go out and play well, we all applaud that. But let's talk about what happens when now you become the man. And this is where Drew Lock finds himself. Even though last season, 5 games, 4-1, and that start, we all know that. But this is kind of like the first year the team will be fully his.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that face a guy when you go from being a backup and you now become the starter?
Well, it's particularly, it's different for a quarterback than it is for other position players being a backup, because being a backup quarterback is one of the easier jobs in sports. You don't really have it. You're not risking anything. You're not ever getting hit. Quarterbacks only get hit in the games. They never get hit at practice. They don't have to run at practice. They don't have to tackle. They don't have to block. They don't have to play. They don't have to do scout team. They don't have to play special teams. They don't do nothing, right? So a backup quarterback, he wears a red jersey and runs scout team offense. That's actually fun, because a quarterback or a coach shows you a card before every play. You're not even running your own offense. You're running the other team's offense off a card. It's a pretty easy existence for a life as a backup quarterback. Now, backup position players, if you're suiting up, you're going to be playing special teams. So there's still pressure when you're a special teams big 4 guy, right? When you're doing kickoff return, punt return. I remember you being back there, personal protector, right?
Right.
Yeah. Nick was the quarterback of the punt team. Okay, so his job was to basically stand where the quarterback would, except like a step to the right, and then call out whatever rushes they were going to do in the number system, and he'd slide to whatever side he had to slide to. So these are things that guys have to do when they're quote unquote. I don't even know if you were starting at that time or if you were. I think you were, and you were also doing the personal protecting stuff.
Yeah, I was starting, and I was playing on every special teams except for PET field goal.
Yeah, so most guys have a role even if they're not starting, but quarterbacks don't. Quarterbacks have a super easy job, and then all of a sudden when you go from being a backup to being the starter, man, your whole entire world changes. And you can actually see that in Drew Lock's demeanor this year versus last year. Like last year there was no pressure. He was backing up Joe Flacco, and when Joe Flacco got benched, it was like, cool. I can't lose here, because we're a bad team. And all I can do is improve it. If we lose again, well, we lose again. But if we win, hey, I'm the guy, and he is the guy now. There is no more Joe Flacco, and there's no one behind him who's pushing him. And so you could see that. I could see that in his body language at practice, where he feels like, he feels the weight. He feels the pressure a little bit in a good way, but he's not out there dancing and messing around as much as he was last year. And so a lot of that is he's trying to figure it out all in his head. Pat Shurmur's throwing the whole offense at him, right? And so he's going out to practice thinking about all the reads and what he's got to do and all that. And I just want Drew Lock to be able to shake that off by Monday night next week, because you can't play like that. Not when you're not that guy. Drew Lock is not the Peyton Manning technician, footwork read guy. That's not him. He's a playmaker. He wants to get outside the pocket with his feet. He wants to go slinging around more like Brett Favre than Peyton Manning, And so we need Drew Lock to be himself and not feel the pressure. And, that's not easy. That's easier said than done.
Well, it is easier said than done. And that's playing the quarterback position is arguably one of the tougher positions in the league. Now, there are some positions on the defensive side of the ball that maybe a notch below the quarterback because of all the things that they have to know and the adjustments. And that quarterback position, there's so much riding on that, so much depending on that. And with so many people looking at that position and saying, okay, well, you need a competent quarterback to win in today's NFL. And if you don't have one of those guys, you're not going to win. And when you talk about, Drew Lock, being that guy that we saw on the sideline being really loose, listening to young Jeezy even, rapping the lyrics on the sideline.
Listening to young Jeezy.
Right. And he doesn't seem to be that type of guy. And I don't want to see Drew Lock go out on Monday night against, the Tennessee Titans and Matt Ryan. And he's a different guy. He needs to play loose. We need him to be that guy. Put on for his city. Come on, Scratch and Sniff. Throw that in there. We'll take it. But that's the guy that the Broncos need him to be. They don't need him to be the guy who's listening to Yacht Rock. We don't need that guy, right? As he's trying to calm his mind down. No, go out there.
What is Yacht Rock?
You have no idea what Yacht Rock is?
No.
Oh, man.
Is it rock you listen to on a yacht?
That's kind of a vibe to it, but Yacht Rock is like, there you go. A little Christopher Cross.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
Nate, a guy of your musical taste in your musical knowledge,
no.
You've never heard Yacht Rock?
No.
Wow.
No.
That's very interesting.
Hey, man.
Still away.
No, I've heard the song. I just don't know it. I would never be like, oh, I'm gonna.
You're never.
I really want to hear some Steal Away. No.
Wait. Do you know Kenny Loggins?
Yeah, I know Kenny Loggins.
Okay. Do you? Okay.
I've just never heard it referred to as yacht rock.
What have you heard it referred to as?
Maybe soft rock or something.
Okay, soft rock, yacht rock. Now you know.
Yeah.
Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
The Cars.
I can't forget that I love anymore. Yeah.
Yes. That's really interesting, Nate.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. And no, Stokley.
I can't forget.
Yeah, that's right.
Every time you hear.
Every time.
It's a Book Fun Friday here on Nigga Cecil. We're getting you ready for your 4-day weekend with a little bit of yacht rock, or as Nate calls it, soft rock.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know if Michael McDonald's soft rock though. Yeah. There's a name for it. I guess it's yacht rock.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
now I know.
Yeah, it's good.
Hey, I learned something new on the Nick and Cecil show.
There you go.
All right.
You got to love it, Nate. There's something I want to let you in on a little secret about me. Why do you sound like that?
That's funny.
Why you say it's funny?
I'm gonna tell you a secret.
See, I definitely got a secret, and this was something that I didn't really tell my brothers and sisters. They didn't find out till obviously years later. Like, I used to listen to a lot of what's soft rock, yacht rock, or whatever, but I never would tell anyone because obviously growing up in the inner city of Miami, that's not what kids are listening to.
Right.
It's a lot of hip hop and things like that. And I couldn't tell them that, I'm listening to this type of music. Another note that I told my family about 4 years ago, like after football season was over, I would watch like Samurai Sunday. It would come on every Sunday in Miami. But after that, ballroom dancing came on.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
And I would watch ballroom dancing, and when someone comes in the room, I switch it back to Kung Fu and Karate.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, infinite layers to you.
Yes,
Nick.
multiple.
So tell us about this ballroom dancing. Have you ever taken classes? Have you ever pushed that interest any further?
No, I haven't, Nate. I haven't pushed it that far. I've only got as far as to watching dance-oriented shows.
Okay.
World of Dance, So You Think You Could Dance, Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, anything with dancing.
Anything with the dance in it.
Wow. And so, hey, man, I think you should try. I think you should go out there and take a class. Take a ballroom dancing class.
You know what? I
take
thought
your wife
about it.
to a ballroom dancing for your anniversary or whenever that is. Say, honey, I bought us tickets or whatever to go take a ballroom dancing class, and then buy yourself a ticket to a real ball and go be the center of attention at the ball.
No, it's a little different now, Nate, especially with the COVID and having to adhere to the 6 feet of space.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have to do it, on Zoom. Could you imagine trying to do
A Zoom dance?
a Zoom.
Yeah, man. Everything's worse on Zoom. So over the Zoom thing, man.
Why?
It's just so boring, dude. Like you watch like TV, like late night shows doing it from their house. Like it's interviewing people on Zoom. I just don't like it. There's nothing interesting about it. Yeah, I don't care what you're saying. I can see your kitchen. It's not interesting.
So you have a problem with the background decor. If it was something other than the kitchen, you would be okay with it.
No, it's the background. So I'm in your house. It takes away the mystique about who you are, because here I'm seeing how you live, which I don't want. It's a rectangle. It's the same rectangle. Your face doesn't move. The camera doesn't move. There's no angles. It's just like it's boring, like visual experience. And then the audio's not great either. It's cutting in and out. And then like someone, a cat runs by in the background. It's just, I'm never entertained by it.
I have the slightest idea who you're watching with cats run by and broken audio. We have to talk during the break, man. I need to figure out who are you watching on Zoom calls. Maybe cat videos. I know people love cat videos on YouTube. So are you watching a lot of cat videos? I don't know what Nate is doing. But if you missed out on grabbing this year's edition of the Locked and Loaded t-shirts, don't fret. We have you covered. If you are the callers 4 and 5 right now, we will mail you on 303-713-1043. So make sure, 4th and 5th caller, call now so you can get your t-shirt. Welcome to the Soft Sounds on Friday night. Nick and Cecil. Big Fun Friday with Nate Jackson sitting in to my left.
Well, hey, Nick.
Well, hey there, Nate.
I just want to tell you it's been really nice. It's been fun.
Yes, it has.
Its time has just flown on by.
Well, they say time flies when you're having fun.
And, well, it was going supersonic speed because I'm having a great time.
Yes. Aren't we all having a great time?
Well, you'd only hope, whoever's out there listening to in their car or their airplane or their bicycle or wherever they are, that they're having as good a time as we are. And we hope you are, and we're hoping you're gearing up for a wonderful weekend.
Yes, if you are on some roller skates right now and you have radio pinned to the side of your head, I hope you have enjoyed this evening's show.
It's been a delight.
It has been that much of a delight.
Delightfully delightful, and just I'm gonna cherish this. I know on Monday you're gonna have your guy back, right? Cecil's gonna be back in the chair, and you might be back here, or where are you?
Cecil's normally here where I'm sitting,
right,
and I'm normally there where you're sitting right now.
And then I'll be sitting somewhere else. I'll be sitting somewhere else, and I will cherish the memory of this night, Nick.
Well, it will be definitely a good one, but Cecil will not be here on Monday, neither will I, because it is Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah, that is what's up.
That's what's up.
And we don't have to worry about bears walking in the crib and everything.
All right.
Yes.
Well, depending on where you're living, right?
Well, yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is
hey,
true.
check this out, though. It's going to snow here on Tuesday.
Well, you know what? KB said that, and I was just like,
no, man, the weather.
Get out of here.
No joke. It's snowing on Tuesday.
Like snow or like flurry snow. There's a difference.
Look, man, it's like a low of 27 degrees. So on Tuesday, so it's gonna snow, man. It's gonna ice gonna come down from the sky and gonna land on your lawn.
Well, you know what? I wonder how my wife feels about that because she has really gotten into gardening. And it's been really extraordinary. She's been trying to get me to get involved with it, like water the grass. And it's the same thing like when my wife decided to get a cat.
Yeah.
I got a cat too, but I had to take care of the cat too.
You don't want to water the cat, though.
No, you don't want to water the cat. You never want to do that. It's just like I didn't want to water the plants either.
So you're not watering the lawn?
No, I'm not.
Why?
There are these things called sprinklers.
Okay.
Nate, you might have heard of them.
So how often do the sprinklers come on?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times during the week.
3 or 4 times a week, and what's the duration, and what's kind of the water pressure that's going on for the duration of time that the water's running?
I have no idea what the running time, and I don't know what the duration or the measure of the saturations, nor do I go out there with a ruler, a little tiny ruler, and try to do that, Nate.
Do you care about your lawn?
Yeah, I do care.
Okay.
I care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe not as much as my wife, though.
Right. Does she listen to your show?
Yeah, she listens.
Do you think she's listening now?
I hope not.
Well, let me tell you this. So we just arrived in town a couple months ago, and the house we're living at, no one was living in it for a while, and so the front lawn was pretty dry.
Beat up.
It was dry. It was dying. The grass was dying. There's some big dirt spots and stuff. But I've been really enjoying bringing it back to life. I've been enjoying watering it and putting little seed and raking it and putting and bringing it back to life like it was a baby bird, And it's getting green. It's getting fluffy. I'm putting my little baby on there now, and he's able to roll around on the grass. It feels really good because I'm coming from L.A. where I lived in an apartment. I had no grass.
Well, first of all, we both lived in Los Angeles, and it was like they had the whole idea, let your grass go California gold. And I'm like, gold? That means it's dead.
Well,
right?
I didn't have any grass to be letting go gold. I was living in an apartment building, and there was no grass anywhere around where I lived. I lived in Venice, and it was just apartment buildings and houses everywhere. There's no grass. There's homeless encampments everywhere. No grass.
Right.
Police helicopters overhead. No grass.
That's L.A., right?
Sirens.
Yes.
No grass. No, we $3,200 a month for 1,000 square foot apartment, but no grass.
Right. The California life, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Rats running across the rooftop, chewing in the walls. No grass. Ants in our apartment coming out from every nook and cranny. No
Wait a
grass.
minute. Where's this in Venice you were living? Because I mean,
Dude,
I know people
right by
who
Venice
live.
High School.
Oh wow, man!
I mean, it was a nice apartment, big windows. It was a nice space,
No
in
grass.
in a cool area. But no.
So that means that you take so much pride in your grass now that you take maybe selfies with your grass.
No, I mean, I took some pictures of my son on the grass, but I just like watching it get greener, man, and I like watering it. That's why I was kind of surprised to hear you'd be like, nah, I don't like doing that, because I really enjoy it. I like waking up in the morning and like, let's go out there and see if it's greener, and put the sprinklers out there, But I don't have them on an automatic thing. I have to actually put it out there and then move it around to kind of hit all the corners and everything.
But see, my wife loves doing that, and I don't want to feel as though I'm overstepping my bounds, taking that away from her.
Yeah.
So I just kind of allow her to go out there and do that. Now, I do go out there. I cut the grass. I do all of those things. And on occasion, I may water just some of the other plants that are around. But my wife really likes that, and she takes pride and joy in it.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't want to take that away.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, like, my wife lets me do that. She's not out there being like, no, let me do the grass, She kind of knows that that's my thing. And so in your family, it's reversed, and that sort of thing, and that's cool. That's respectful. You let her do what she likes to do.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that I had to learn as I walked the walk of being married. And our old strength and conditioning coach, Rich Tootin, used to tell me that, man, there's no way you're going to get married. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't think I'm attractive enough? He's like, no, it's not
You
that.
don't think I'm pretty enough?
He's like, no, you have the inability to compromise. But I had to learn to get over that, because growing up the way that I did and having some of the experiences that I did, it was one of those things where I was always the one out front doing certain things.
Right.
So I was accustomed to it, but I wasn't accustomed to relinquishing those things to other individuals, because I just didn't really trust them to be able to do it the way that I would. But being married to the person I am, I mean, I have enough faith and trust that she can go ahead and do some of those things. And that's why when she wanted to do the garden thing, I drove down past Greeley to go get these wooden crates or whatever that she wanted for it.
Cool.
And, she's doing well, and her garden is thriving. But this cold that you're speaking of, KB is speaking of, I don't think she's going to like it.
Well, it's only going to be here for a day, and then it's supposed to get warmer again. It's just so weird, the Colorado weather. It's just like, it's going to be 98, by the way, the next 2 days. Close to 100, and then it drops, and then it drops to snow, and then it goes back up to 80s. So it's like, Mother Nature's just being a little temperamental.
No, that's Mother Nature reminding us of how small we are.
That's right.
That's exactly what she's doing. And speaking of that, I mean, with Labor Day coming up, any big plans for you and the family this weekend?
No big plans. Probably going to water the lawn, Probably going to water the lawn, maybe, maybe make some hot dogs or something. Maybe hang out with some friends, but it's the time of, it's a weird time. Like, people are not encouraging you to go to parties and things like that. So, and my wife is definitely not taking any risks right now with the newborn and stuff like that. So we'll probably lay low.
Well, there's a good thing that she's doing that. KB, any big plans this weekend?
No, Nate touched on hot dogs. I think I'm going to try to do something with hot dogs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this isn't the Nathan hot dog eating contest. Or is that the direction you were going?
Nate's hot dog eating contest.
That's right. I'm going to put down at least 5 or 6.
No, not me. I'm staying away from hot dogs at this moment. But it was great sitting in with you, Nate, man. Come back anytime you want to. And as always, I got to thank my guy, KB, in the box.
Thank you, Nick. And Nate, before you go, we were actually able to get a personalized message from Vic Fangio talking about your time on the Cecil and Nick show.
Oh, yeah? You know what? That Vic is a special guy.
He is.
Thanks, KB. I appreciate you, man.
And you know who else is special? It's one Sean Drotar on The Fan late night coming up next. I'm sure he has a lot to talk about and discuss about the Denver Nuggets. Until next week, Tuesday, it's the Nick and Cecil Show, Big Fun Friday, and we're out.
Peace out.